Good morning, Shabbat Shalom. You may be seated. This is working, right? Okay, good. So we have something called halacha, which is Jewish law. But the fact is Judaism is 100% voluntary at this point. If you have a cheeseburger at home, no one's going to go, hey, put it down. Right? Judaism is voluntary. Otherwise, we'd have a couple more people here today. By the way, I am very glad you're here today. If I were you, I don't know if I'd come. It's cold. It's not because of the National Day of Hate thing. That doesn't prevent me from things. It's being slightly cold. So I would have just rolled over, had 3, 4 more, 5 cups of coffee, and called it a day. I give you a lot of credit for being here. Yeah, Judaism is completely voluntary. And even in Israel, where there is a chief rabbinate, and there is an issue in terms of, say, marriage, divorce, things like that, on a day-to-day basis, you don't have to keep Shabbat, you don't have to keep kosher, you don't have to go to services. Judaism is completely voluntary, and it has been essentially since the beginning. You read a little bit about you get stoned for this or you get stoned for that, which is, by the way, why Israel is a leader in pharmaceutical marijuana around the world. They decided to take that. Oh, come on, that was funny. But there's no indication that they ever actually executed someone or stoned someone for violating Judaism. It was really just a matter of how much did you want to be a part of the community or not a part of the community. And Judaism has always survived because people have voluntarily given the best of what they have, whether it is their time, whether it is their resources, whether it is just showing up and feeling a sense of connection. And what is important then is that everyone has to feel like they have a gift to give and that the gift will be received. I mean, how many of you have ever tried to give someone to something and they're like, thanks? Like, you thought about what you wanted to give them, you spent time on it, and then the look on their face was, we will put this out next time you visit. Oh, I'm the only one who's done that. Okay, great. If what you have to give and if who you are is accepted, you will feel like part of the people. You will feel part of the people now, but you'll also feel like a part of our history. And if you feel rejected for who you are and rejected for what you have to give, you will feel disconnected and you will not be a part of it. And this is something that has to happen in every generation. In the Torah portion, it says, Daber el b'nei Yisrael v'yichuli truma me'et kol ish asher yidvenu libo titchu et trumati. Tell the people of Israel to bring me gifts, and you shall accept the gifts from every person whose heart is moved to do so. That it's coming from who they are. They're not just doing it because it's a tax, because it's an obligation, but it's because they want to share the essence of who they are. And there was a great Hasidic master, Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, who wrote a book called Kedushat Levi. And he talks about this issue that of every generation, because he noticed that the description of the tabernacle in the Torah, the dimensions of the altar, are different from the in the Haftorah, where it describes the dimensions. And what Levi Yitzchak said is that it wasn't that one was right and that one was wrong, but every generation had to figure out what was right for them, how it would fit into their lives, what the way that they could build it, the resources that they had. There have been times that the Jewish community has been incredibly impoverished, and people gave what they could, and that kept the people going. And there were times where the Jewish community did better, and they gave what they could, and the community did fine. It wasn't the affluence of the community at any given time, it was the willingness to open their hearts, but the willingness of people in the community to understand that everyone does things differently, everyone has something different to offer. And as we approach Purim, I think that there's a powerful lesson in the descriptions of the party, actually of King Achashverosh, and the description of the tabernacle, which is in our Torah portion. In the beginning of the book of Esther, it goes into all the details of all the flatware and dishes and decorations that Achashverosh put out for the party that he had. Remember, he had a 180-day party for the kingdom, and that wasn't enough. And so he threw another 7-day party. And in that party in Shushan, it talks about all these things that you would normally never have a description of. Like, who cares that he put out linen napkins instead of paper? Now, your mother-in-law may have thought that was a big deal. Or your father-in-law. But if you look at the description, it echoes exactly what was in the tabernacle. And what it means is that the Jews of Shushan were more than likely eating off the utensils that had come from the Holy Temple. To make a very long story short, Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia destroyed the temple in Jerusalem, took the Jews, and probably he took the silverware. You know, when you're going to conquer a country, you take the silverware. Then Persia conquers him, and they take it. So what it means is that the Jews of Persia, the Jews of Shushan, were eating from the utensils of the Holy Temple, and they either didn't know or they didn't care. And both are sad in their own way. But it means that they did not understand themselves the gifts that they had been given as a people. They didn't understand what their heritage was. They didn't understand why it mattered. And so this is the obligation of the generations to each other. The older generation has to let the younger generations know what a gift it is to be Jewish. Right? It's not easy, and I know people occasionally want to return it and exchange it for something else. But it's a gift. Our heritage is a gift. Our teaching is a gift. But once you give a gift, it's up to the person who received it to figure out how to make sense of it for themselves. And so it's the obligation of the younger generation to the younger to not only share what the gift is, but when the younger generations want to live their lives in a way that makes sense Jewishly, when they want to use their own gifts of who they are and what they have, the older generation needs to say, that is the gift they are giving us. That's what Dor Lador is. It's a back and forth between generations, not just one giving to the other. So when we think about Purim, which is a holiday of giving gifts to each other, giving gifts to those who don't have enough, help everyone feel like they have something to give. Help everyone feel that who they are matters, not just our vision of who we want them to be. Let us find a way to share the gifts of our people with the next generation in a way that they can afford, a way they can appreciate, and in a way that they will ultimately value for themselves. David Hermelin of blessed memory used to have a wonderful statement. He would say, give until it feels good. He hated the phrase, give till it hurts. And I thought that there was a power in this idea that giving of ourselves, being part of a people that is a gift to us and giving it to others, that isn't a burden. That isn't just an obligation that we do out of duty. That is a gift of the heart. And that is a gift that we all have, something that we can give, and even by giving it, it expands our own sense of love, our own sense of hope, our own sense of optimism. So on a day that people are worrying about how to stop us, let's find a way to keep being more and more of who we are, and that is our gift to the world too. Shabbat Shalom.